out of his league, involving himself with the situation with Orlando Anderson in Las Vegas that night?
I shouldn't have did that. But Pac would be edgy. He's just got hyper, and he thought he had the lead. And if you notice any video, everybody's following him around. He's the moneymaker.
So it looks like there's an even bigger twist, the biggest story, or should we say mystery, in the history of the American music industry. Apparently, Tupac's father, Billy Garland, has just revealed that the United States government and police killed his son. This detail comes after the police had already arrested Duane Keffe D Davis in connection with the murder. So what exactly in the drama is going on here? Keep watching as we spill the tea on this one. Hey, I'm Kat. Welcome back to Rumor Has It. The biological father of Tupac, Billy Garland, has recently spoken about why he strongly believes that the government of the United States was, in fact, involved in the death of his son 27 years ago when he was fatally shot in a drive-by shooting in the Las Vegas Valley. While sitting down with Delray Richardson for The Art of Dialogue, Garland discussed the events of his son's death in 1996. He stated that the events leading to Tupac's death was arranged by the United States government. According to a popular fan theory that Tupac was being followed that night, Garland confirmed it was true, and it was the feds who were following the rapper when he was in Las Vegas where he died. In the video, Garland spoke on the fight between Tupac and Orlando Anderson, which happened in the lobby area of the MGM Grand on the night of the match fight between heavyweight boxers Mike Tyson and Bruce Seldon. Although there were a lot of rumors that the altercation was heated, Garland said Tupac should have never got into it in the first place. Garland said he knew that the uncle of Anderson, Duane Keffe D Davis, confessed to the government that he was at the scene when Anderson allegedly shot and killed Tupac. However, he claimed that he believes the government should be getting the blame for his son's death since Keffe was later offered a deal. He said, "Well, I think the key question there is the government. The government gave him the deal. Tupac was being tailed by the government the night of his assassination. He was being tailed by the government quad studio, that's a known fact. So, I don't know this guy Keffe, I don't know. Maybe he had to say that to get out of some issue, I don't know. I just know it looked like a setup to me. Somebody told this guy to stand there with the death row thing and it pursued to what we had, but I don't think it had anything to do with the death of my son, not at all."
Well, I think the key question there is the government. The government gave him the deal. He was being tailed by the government the night of his assassination. He was being tailed by the government quad studio. That's a known fact. Known fact. So I don't know this guy, Keffe. I don't know. Maybe he had to say that to get out of some issue. I don't know. I just know it looked like a setup to me. Somebody told this guy to stand there with the death row thing. And
as you probably already know, there were a lot of rumors surrounding Keffe D's proffer agreement deal offered by the government. Several fans believe that the deal was a formalization aimed at covering the actual identity of Pac's killer. So let's get down to business. A proffer agreement is when a defendant in a case cooperates with the government and provides information about self-incrimination. Instead of taking place in court, the proffer agreement is often held at the local U.S. Attorney's office. In the session, the defendant, who's represented by counsel, is questioned by federal prosecutors representing the government. In 2009, when the Los Angeles Police Department interrogated Keffe D for his connection with rapper Biggie's murder in a proffer meeting, he stated in a confession that he was involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur. The known gangster explained to the police that his nephew, Orlando Anderson, shot Tupac. In the recording of the LAPD interview, Keffe D told the police Anderson leaned over and rolled down the window and popped him. However, Keffe D further explained that he actually attempted to shoot Tupac himself, but his aim wasn't accurate, leading him to give the gun to Orlando, who fired the shots. Despite the fact that the information on Keffe D's confession is public knowledge, Garland doesn't think he's responsible, and he might just be right. According to another popular fan theory, Keffe D might have been used and set up by the police to take the fall for the murder by using the proffer agreement to lure him in, as he wasn't really aware that it doesn't include full immunity. In 2019, Greg Kading, a retired LAPD detective who is part of the investigating team of Biggie's murder case, told CBS News Los Angeles that Keffe D confessed to being involved in Tupac's shooting while he was being interrogated. Rather than keep shut-in ordinance with the deal, Keffe D further elaborated on the circumstances that led to Tupac's shooting and how it was done with several news outlets, leading to the police raiding his Nevada home. A user on X, used to be Twitter, said in a tweet, Keffe D had already told the police who killed Pac years ago, and the police gave him a proffer agreement. but he had to think that meant he had immunity, but it didn't. Another user said, Keffe D failed to realize that his proffer agreement is not immunity. So when you go blabbing to people like Vlad outside of the law enforcement, they can turn around and use that evidence against you. Hashtag Orlando Anderson. Despite the deal he already had with the police, Keffe D was eventually, and in an official move, arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur on the 30th of September while taking a walk near his home on the outskirts of Las Vegas, hours before prosecutors announced in court that a Nevada grand jury had indicted the self-described gangster on one count of murder with a deadly weapon.
Hey Keith, Metro Police, come over here. Hey Metro Police, come over here, all right? Thanks, buddy. Come on over here. Appreciate your cooperation, okay?
However, it turns out that Keffe D was actually expecting the arrest. In the footage released, David was walking down the street when the Metropolitan police officer said, "Hey Keffe, Metro Police, come over here." Keffe D, who was holding a water bottle, cooperated and gave his hand to be handcuffed. While he was driven away in the police vehicle, he asked the officer if he was being followed the previous night. However, the police officer said no, which prompted Keffe D to ask, "So, why you all didn't bring the media?" In reply, the officer asked Keffe D why they would bring the media, and he replied, "That's what you all do." The conversation and footage of his arrest suggested that Keffe D knew why he was arrested, and was even expecting it to be a really big televised news. While parked and with neither Davis nor officers visible on camera, someone out of the frame asked, "So what they got you for, man?" In reply, Keffe D said, "Biggest case in Las Vegas history, September 7, 1996. Considering the case has been on for about 3 decades, many fans think that this might be an attempt on the investigators and police's part to launch a proper prosecution and finally pin it on Keffe D, while others think it might just be a formality to get Keffe D a plea deal and eventually bury the case as soon as possible. If either one of these instances are to be true, then Garland, Tupac's father, might be right after all when he claimed the United States government had a hand in the death of his son. In a separate clip from Garland's conversation with The Art of Dialogue released last week at the time of recording, he revealed how he reacted when first hearing his late son's 1995 track, Dear Mama. Garland said, "At first I was upset, because I'm trying to see you, but then it hit me. For one, I ain't dead, and so you really didn't know me, because if you would have known me, you would have known that I wasn't dead. So I knew that someone had lied to him from that point on. So later on, when I found out that someone did lie to him, that song made perfectly good sense. I understood it totally."
I was upset because I'm trying to see you and, but then it hit me. Well, one, I ain't dead. And so you really didn't know me, because if you would have known me, you would have known that I wasn't dead. You see what I'm saying? So I knew there that someone had lied to him from that point. And so later on, when I found out that someone did lie to him, that song made...
Well, these days, Garland has said that he's now fond of the track and his son's entire catalog. He said, "I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love all his music though. I listen to his music daily, every freaking day, and I like it. And then it hits me, he's my son." In the same interview, Garland talked about the recently released documentary series Dear Mama, which was produced and directed by Alan Hughes. The series, which is billed as an audio and visual experience, spans decades of key historical moments while telling the story of Tupac and his mother, Afeni Shakur. So guys, what do you think of Garland's comments? Do you think the government actually had a hand in Tupac's death? I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!